Unlike mainstream adaptations that soften ancient myths, Snyder's vision leans into the genre's raw, gender-fluid, and edgy elements, delivering a truly unique take. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Zack Snyder has built a reputation for his bold visual storytelling and expansive world building, whether in the superhero genre with Justice League or in his dystopian sci-fi project Rebel Moon. However, while his feature films often grapple with runtime limitations and studio mandates, Snyder has finally found a medium where his creativity knows no bounds: animation. His latest Netflix venture, Twilight of the Gods, has provided him with a rare opportunity to fully explore his wildest artistic ambitions without fear of running out of space. The director referenced the increased space for creativity that television has provided during an interview. Twilight of the Gods is an animated series that plunges deep into Norse mythology. Unlike many pop culture adaptations that sanitize or simplify these ancient tales, Zack Snyder has embraced their bizarre, gender-fluid, and often brutal nature. As he revealed during a Netflix Geeked Week interview, this unrestrained approach was exactly what he wanted, via Shakefire. We could do all the weird sh*t that we wanted to and never run out of space. Snyder's passion for mythology dates back to his high school years, where he first studied Norse legends in depth. With the help of writer and mythology expert Peter Apurlo, he ensured that Twilight of the Gods remained authentic while pushing the boundaries of what audiences expect from such a series. The director explained how he was able to maintain a sense of creativity and edginess in Twilight of the Gods. He claimed that while he committed to a bizarre vision of Norse mythology, the show still lines up well with traditional stories. Snyder is known for extended director's cuts, often exceeding 3 or 4 hours, in order to present his full vision. With Twilight of the Gods, he no longer needed to make those trade-offs. Unlike feature films constrained by theatrical runtime expectations, animation allowed him to tell an expansive story across multiple episodes. This also led to the director realizing his own vision. It's not really the sort of Norse mythology that you have seen so much in pop culture. Or pop culture tends to shave the edges off a bit and make it a little easier. We really went for all the weirdness. I thought that was cool. So I think that it's a much weirder, kind of more edgy, kind of bizarro vision of Norse mythology, but actually lines up probably more with traditional Norse mythology. They're all gender bending and they're all it's great. The director also talked about the expertise his team of writers brought in, claiming that the resultant narrative struck a clear balance between being crazy and taking inspiration from actual stories from the Norse mythology. After working with acclaimed directors for years, Hans Zimmer's Man of Steel collaboration with Zack Snyder left him freaking out for months. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Zack Snyder is one of the most impactful directors of recent times. With blockbuster movies like The Watchmen, 300 more under his belt, he is no less than a pioneer in the world of action and superhero films. As such, getting to work with someone like him would excite anyone. However, it could be equally nerve-wracking for some as well. That is exactly what happened with Oscar-winning musician Hans Zimmer when he got a chance to work with Snyder in Man of Steel. What is surprising, though, is that Zimmer has previously worked in movies like Gladiator and The Dark Knight with directors that are hailed as one of a kind as well. However, collaborating with Zack Snyder left him freaking out for months for a specific reason. Hans Zimmer first collaborated with Zack Snyder for the 2013 movie Man of Steel. Zimmer has had years of experience working with legendary directors before this, of course, like Christopher Nolan for his Batman trilogy and Inception. Additionally, Mark Webb for The Amazing Spider-Man 2, Ridley Scott for Gladiator, and more. He was nervous about his first collaboration with Zack Snyder all the same. He explained as much during his recent appearance in Josh Horowitz's Happy Sad Confused podcast on March 8th. The reason behind that, though, is quite understandable. That is, after John Williams' legendary score in Superman, 1978, a movie that would go on to shape superhero movies for generations after that, he had big shoes to fill. Look, I'll be very honest about that. For 3 months I was just freaking out, and not writing a thing. And then Zack said that Chris Nolan had told him that nothing will happen unless he comes down with a firm deadline. As such, Zack Snyder came up with a solution to come calling at Zimmer's door. Although it only added to the composer's worries for the time being, as he said, I got nothing, I got maybe something, like a post-it, like you put on the fridge and some scribbles." Regardless, he played the sample theme to the director, and he loved it. Moreover, Snyder's following conversation with the director also went a long way to dispel his worries. As the composer noted, Snyder told him, "Hans, you have done so many movies. It's just a movie. Stop freaking out." But it's Superman." "Yes, I know, but it is just another movie." Which is actually correct, At any rate, this realization finally pulled Hans Zimmer out of his suspended state, and he got to creating the soundtrack that would stay in the hearts of Superman fans around the world forever. Hans Zimmer is one of the most acclaimed composers in recent years, and for good reason. With multiple Academy Awards, 5 Grammys, a BAFTA, and 3 Emmys and a Tony nomination under his belt, very few could match up to his skills and prizes in the current music scene. As such, fans were more than convinced of him bagging another Oscar this year for his masterful composition in Dune Part 2. However, in a strange twist of fate, he ended up getting disqualified from the nomination altogether. The reason being, he used some of the same elements from the first Dune movie in the second part as well. He commented on the matter in the recent interview, saying that his disqualification is not even a sore point, it's just sort of a stupid point. How can it be a sore point? I mean, it's like, I got disqualified because I was using material from the first movie in the second movie. But it's not a sequel, it's just the completion. It's the arc. Both movies are just one arc. So, was I supposed to go and take all the character themes away and write new character themes or develop them? As the composer noted, that would not only be ridiculous but would actually take away from the integral world building he has painstakingly been a part of since the first movie. At any rate, after bagging 2 Oscars already, this turn of events doesn't seem to have impacted him that much. If anything, Hans Zimmer seems to be looking forward to his future projects with just as much enthusiasm as ever. The existence of Zack Snyder's unfiltered epic vision of Justice League was only made possible due to the fans, and Snyder bows down to them. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. The DC Extended Universe has had its fair share of problems. But the most objectionable of them was Zack Snyder's third film, Justice League, which went through hell and back to reach the audience in its purest, uncensored form. As difficult as it may have been for Snyder and the studio to find common ground, it would not have been possible without the DCU fans. As a tireless campaign spread through social media like a plague, DCU fans hounded Warner Brothers for years before the studio finally conceded to fan demand. The resulting Snyder's Cut, with an extended 4-hour-long vision of the director's ambitious story, made the fans resent WB even more for rejecting his planned 5-movie arc for Justice League. However, the director knows when not to push his luck in the ever-changing game of Hollywood musical chairs, although Snyder gives credit where it is due. League, credit, Warner Brothers. Making a 100-year-old studio bow down to fan demand is not a meager achievement. The collective love for the DC Extended Universe was such that it made the fans absolutely livid to think about missing out on Zack Snyder's raw vision for his movie universe after he left the Justice League production due to a family tragedy.